So, when you hear a phrase like modernist cooking, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably images of futuristic foams, weird gels, and maybe chefs in lab coats, right? But what if I told you it's way, way more accessible than you think, and that its secrets can actually make you a better cook in your very own kitchen?
Yeah, you've probably heard this term thrown around too. Molecular gastronomy. It just sounds intense. A little intimidating, maybe? It definitely brings to mind beakers and centrifuges more than, pots and pans.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Is this some super complicated science, or is it just cooking? Is this something you can actually do at home without a chemistry degree? Well, the answer might honestly surprise you.
To really get to that answer, first we've got to clear the air. We're going to tackle the 3 biggest myths that keep most home cooks from even dipping a toe into these techniques. So yeah, let's bust some myths.
Okay, first up, the big one. The one I hear all the time. This fear that we're dealing with some kind of unnatural, unsafe chemicals. People always ask, why are you using chemicals? I like natural food. And you know what? That is a totally fair question.
But let's actually look at where these so-called chemicals come from. Take agar, for example. It's an amazing gelling agent, and it's just an extract from algae. It's been used in Asian cooking for centuries. And xanthan gum? It's made by fermenting the sugar you find in cabbage. All of a sudden, they sound a lot less like a science experiment and a lot more like, well, food.
The author Jason Logston puts it perfectly here. For most of us, these ingredients are no more processed than stuff we already have in our pantries. I mean, think about it. Cornstarch or sugar go through massive industrial processes, but we don't call them chemicals, right? We call them staples. It's the same idea.
All right, let's move on to myth number 2. This idea that it's science, not cooking, and that it's just too complicated for the average person. This is the one that really stops people in their tracks.
But here's the secret. All cooking is science. This is my favorite example. On the left, you've got this crazy scientific description of making pancakes. And on the right, the simple instructions. They are describing the exact same process. We just don't need to talk like a chemist to get a stack of fluffy pancakes. And that's the whole point. You don't need to understand how xanthan gum works on a molecular level any more than you need to understand the molecular structure of flour to know it'll thicken a gravy. You just need to know that if you add a little bit, your sauce gets thicker. It's a tool, not a final exam.
Okay, so now that we've busted those myths, let's get into the really fun stuff, the core toolkit. See, modernist cooking isn't really about creating bizarre new flavors. At its heart, it's all about mastering texture. We're going to focus on the big 3: foams, gels, and emulsions.
Let's start with foams. A foam is just a structure that traps air bubbles. And trust me, you've been eating them your entire life. Whipped cream? That's a foam. The head on a beer? A foam. Even bread is basically a type of set foam. See? Not so scary. And foams exist across this whole amazing spectrum. You can make a fine, dense foam like whipped cream, or a really coarse one like the froth on a latte. You can make them wet and rich, or so dry and light that chefs actually call them airs. This is where you get to be creative. And if you think it's hard, check this out. To make a savory soy air, all you do is mix water, soy sauce, and a little sugar with lecithin, which, by the way, usually comes from soy anyway. Then you just grab a regular immersion blender and whip air into it. That's it. In a few minutes, you have this incredibly light, flavor-packed foam you can spoon over anything. Next up, gelling. This is just about creating a solid structure that holds liquid, giving something shape and body. And again, this isn't new. Custards, Jell-O, your favorite fruit preserves. Yep, those are all gels you already know and love. And just like foams, gels have a huge range. You can make a soft, tender gel that melts in your mouth like panna cotta, or you can go for a firm, chewy one like a gummy bear. These modernist ingredients simply give you precise control over exactly what texture you want to end up with.
And our final core technique is emulsifying. And really, this is just a fancy word for getting 2 liquids that don't like each other, like oil and vinegar, to mix together and stay mixed. The most common example on the planet? A simple vinaigrette. If you've made one, you're an emulsifier.
So why use new ingredients for this? Well, they let you do some pretty cool things, like create vinaigrettes that are super stable and literally never separate. You can also thicken a sauce without adding flour or cream, so you keep the flavor really pure. You can even cut down on the oil for a lower fat version that still has an amazing texture. It's all about control. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling a little more convinced. The myths are busted, the techniques actually make sense. So what do you really need to get started? This is the best part.
This is the last myth we need to absolutely shatter. The idea that you have to drop thousands of dollars on some kind of crazy, high-tech lab equipment.
So here it is, the required list to do almost everything we just talked about. You need a gram scale, because you're using small amounts of these ingredients, a regular kitchen scale, an immersion blender, and a whisk. Seriously, that's it. I'm willing to bet you already own at least half of this stuff.
And the total cost to get everything on that list brand new? Under $100. For less than a decent dinner out, you can have the entire starter kit to explore this incredible world of cooking.
And here's the thing to remember. These aren't just niche gadgets. A good scale makes you a better baker, period. An immersion blender is a total game changer for pureed soups and perfect mayonnaise. This isn't an investment in modernist cooking. It's an investment in becoming a more precise, more versatile cook. Full stop.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that the lab coat is officially off and the myths are gone, think about a dish you make all the time. Tomato soup? Mashed potatoes? What could you do to completely transform that dish just by playing with its texture? The possibilities, as you're about to find out, are pretty much endless.